So, a few topics I want to cover tonight that have been brought up last night and just this past couple weeks. So, first thing I want to mention is the boxing match. So, as I know, or as I knew what happened, he declined. And he's just going to continue to sit on his couch and talk trash, and that's fine. I think that he knows that his 300-pound difference wouldn't matter in a boxing ring, which is why he doesn't want to do it, and that's fine. But we can move on from that. And let's go ahead and talk about the allegations of me using, because that's been a big topic lately. And Homeboy himself last night straight up accused me of using. So, of course, I wasn't on anything in that live. People took the fact that I was sniffling and, of course, jumped to the most ridiculous of conclusions, as they usually do. In any situation, our trolls and snarks jump to the most ridiculous of conclusions. Like when Gypsy lost 40 pounds, it was, oh, she must be on Ozempic. If I'm sniffling, oh, he must be on hardcore, you know what? It's always going to, if I were to just get ripped over the next 6 months, which won't happen, by the way, but if I did, it'd be, oh, he's on steroids. It's always going to be the most dramatic conclusion as possible. And if you don't believe me, which I'm sure a lot of you don't have to take my word for it. Let's go ahead and talk about CPS. Maybe you can take this as facts. So before Aurora was born, we kind of knew that CPS would definitely be called on us by our snarks and haters and trolls. And we prepared for it. We knew that it's an unfortunate reality that we knew we were going to deal with. And, they're going to report a bunch of false allegations against us, false lies, and, just attack us in any way they can and just cause an uproar and, hurt us as much as they can. So one day CPS comes by our house. This is not too long ago. And, we're fully cooperative. So we let them come in. They toured our house, took pictures of everything, even took pictures inside of our fridge for whatever reason, took pictures of the inside of our drawers in our room, all kinds of crazy stuff. And of course they tested us, because these allegations were, we're neglecting Aurora, we're leaving her at home to go out and party, and we're blowing wind in her face and just not taking care of her. It was all false, all BS. And so I knew that, inevitably we'd have to deal with a caseworker. And so she came over, she interviewed us separately, toured our house, took pictures of everything, made sure. And I'm trying to watch my verbiage on this because I know there are a lot of things you can say to get banned or get your live kicked off. So words that I would never say. They made sure all of our pew-pews were locked up correctly and made sure that we didn't have any chemicals out and available. Just all the normal stuff. And then they, of course, tested us. And not only were UAs given, but hair was given. Okay. And just recently, as of a few months ago, our case was closed because nothing comes back. And they realized that as much as you guys don't want it to be true, as much as a lot of our haters and snarks there don't want it to be true, Aurora is in a very safe environment and in a very well taken care of household. And that's just the reality that y'all have to get over. So if you don't believe me when I say that I'm not using anything, you can believe the fact that our case file was closed and that we were tested and for that case file to be closed. And our caseworker even told us, unfortunately, because of y'all's notoriety, I don't expect these false calls to stop coming in, just like with her PO, all the time, false calls, lies, etc. So for me to go and develop a habit right now, knowing that, any day they can come knock on my door again, it's just ridiculous. It's out of the question, and it's just never going to happen. So you believe what you want, but that's the facts, and that's the reality. So, it's an unfortunate thing that we have to deal with. I don't fear CPS. We're very cooperative with them. And no, I'm not going to show the letter that proves our case was closed because it has our address on it. So I'm not going to show that, and it's unnecessary. But I don't fear CPS because again, we know that Aurora is very well taken care of. She's in a very happy home. And as much as y'all don't want to believe that, it doesn't matter because that's the truth. And that's what we focus on. We focus on being parents, and of course we make mistakes. I've done things that I'm learning. This is my first child, but Aurora has never been in any kind of danger and never would be. To think that I would go live in my hotel room and pan the camera away and kneel over and, I got to watch my verbiage here. Well, I mean, that's obvious. That's obvious that, yeah, of course, the pew-pews are mine. Yeah, definitely. But it's insane, But that's like I said, people jump to the most wildest and most ridiculous of conclusions from every little microanalyzation of our lives. And that's the way it'll always be. Like we've been battling insane rumors from Jump Street, like the fact that people think that Aurora isn't real and that we faked a pregnancy. And, like 2 months ago, I was accused of being on different, substances. And the month before that, it was a different one. And it's never going to stop. It's a never ending battle. But I just find it hilarious that Ryan, of all people, is going to come on his live and point his finger at me and accuse me and call me a dope head, which I don't know. If this live gets kicked off for the things that I'm saying, then I'll have to just make a video and post it to X, because that's the only platform I think I can talk about certain things without being shut down. But I think that it's hilarious that out of all people, he's going to be the one that points his finger at me and accuses me and calls me out and calls me a dope head when he himself is on a daily prescription substance medication, and that was, brought to light, recently. So, I mean, and I'm not knocking anybody who's on that particular prescription. If it helps you turn your life around and it helps you stay sober or get off street drugs or whatever. I said the bad word. Then I'm all for it. Good for you. But you just have some nerve to be on that daily certain substance and then point a finger at me and call me a dope head. That to me is hilarious and insane. But it's always going to be the case with this guy, like that's all that he's ever going to do. He's never not going to go live. Here's my new challenge. My new challenge for you, Ryan, is this: go live one time without mentioning my name or mentioning Gypsy's name once. Let's see if you can do that. Like it's been over a year. It's time for you to just move on with your life and get off these coattails you keep riding, and stop mentioning us, and I won't have to come back here and talk about you again. Like I'm only even doing this live to address your ridiculousness that you did last night. So that's just the way it is. And if you can, keep an audience off of different subjects, if you want to talk about whatever is interesting in your life, wrestling, whatever the hell it is, and retain an audience that way, then it's a win-win. Good for you. Move on with yourself. But the fact that you always go live and like it's just inevitable that you mention me, you mention Gypsy, you talk your trash. Is it really all that you have? Like, dude, move on with yourself. It's really sad at this point. And then again, the nerve that you have to point a finger at me and accuse me of being on substances is just hilarious. And like I said, moving on from that, I don't fear CPS at all, but I do fear for my safety. I fear for Gypsy's safety, and of course, I fear for Aurora's safety. Because our address has been leaked. I've seen it on TikTok. I've seen it on other forums and etc. So yeah, I do worry that one day, any day now, we're going to get swatted, or a brick's going to come through my window and hit Aurora or something like that. Things that no parent should ever have to worry about. Okay. So now my life's been restricted. That's fine. Okay. See, I know that if I mention certain things, it's going to get restricted. It hasn't been shut down. Restart? Okay. I guess I had to restart because, again, you really have to watch your verbiage, which I get carried away and forget. There is no topic. I'm just talking about certain things. All right. So some people say that I'm being dramatic by even mentioning the fear of being swatted. Are you kidding me? Like that to me is insane. Thank you for the gifts, guys. I'm sorry if you gift me and I don't always shout your name out. Thank you, Angel. I'll do my best to, but I'm not the best at it. So I don't think it's ridiculous at all for me to fear these things. With the amount of certain threats that we get all the time from all different kinds of walks of life and all different kinds of people on all different platforms, these are things that most people don't ever have to deal with. So you don't understand the anxiety that comes along with it. And nothing is more important to me than my family. At the end of the day, this is all for the birds. I don't care about TikTok. You don't ever see me post content. I don't do lives begging for gifts. I don't set up cameos begging you to go buy one. I don't care about any of this stuff. Really, I don't. All that I really care about is my family. Aurora and Gypsy and my safety is all that matters to me. So, and when I see people post my address, post pictures of my house, and knowing that I can't just up and move on a whim, it definitely creates a realm of anxiety. And I just do the best I can to make sure everyone's safe. We keep this house as safe as we can. All of our neighbors know us, and we're friends with all of them, and they look out for us too, which I thank God for that. When you take your internet hate and you put it into the real world, it's two different monsters, and I've seen people cross that bridge, and it's scary. So that's just the way that it is. Now, so I've touched on most of the topics I want to talk about. Like I said, this isn't going to be a super long live. But another thing I want to talk about is Gypsy's new hobby, where she makes artwork. This is a new hobby for her. She spends a lot of her time doing it, and she wanted to create an Etsy shop without her name attached to it, and just put out paintings and see if anybody wants to, buy some. And unfortunately, it got outed what her page was. But, I think that it's crazy to attack her for just having a little side hustle and a little hobby. Like, let her have her thing. I don't know why this is a big deal to people. And, just leave the girl alone. Like, let her just live her life. I don't understand why the constant attacks. All right. Well, that's pretty much all that I wanted to talk about today. There's not much else I have to say, so I'm just reading some of these questions here. Again, like Gypsy's she's a mother. She's trying to make a little side income. She's off social media. She's, deactivated all of her accounts and just trying to live a little bit more private. So just let her live, Thank you for all the blessings. Thank you for all the support, everyone. And let's see. Is there anything else I need to talk about? That's pretty much it. Yeah, I said this was going to be a long one. All right. Again, everything is okay. The family's good. We're happy. Aurora's happy. She's over there smiling right now. And I wish that I could post pictures of Aurora. I really wish I could. I wish that I had the freedom to do that. But there's just too much hate in this world, and there's just too many nasty people out there who I don't want to take a picture of her and bully a baby and make, attack an innocent child, which is why I don't post her. So the reality is she's the most gorgeous baby in the world. I know that every father says that about their kid, but she really is. And for everybody in our circle and all of our friends who have got the chance to see her, she's very well loved. And she's in a really good circle of good people. And, but yeah, I can't post her online. I'm not able to do that because there's just too much hate and cruelty on the internet. So no, we're not married yet. Anyway, that's all I have. So I think I've touched on most things I need to touch on. If I have to come back and here's another thing, I'm not going to readdress Ryan anymore. We all know that he's going to go live again whenever his little ban is over and beg y'all for gifts and donations and buy his cameos to support his gambling addiction or whatever. And, he'll talk about me again and make a bunch of ridiculous, statements again. And I'm not going to come back and respond. I'm just not. It's time for you to move on with your life, and we'll move on with our lives. There's no reason to talk about you. There's no reason to talk about me. And, let's see if you can do that. Let's see if you can actually just move on with yourself, dude. It's time, but I don't think you will, because I think that you also realize that it's really kind of all you have. It's the driving force of your audience. So we'll see. And with that, I'm going to leave on this. All right, this is the last thing I'm going to do before I leave. Okay, so to everybody who tells me I took his wife, okay, let me respond to that. I didn't take anybody's wife. The reality that he has a hard time gripping is that Gypsy left him. Gypsy didn't want to be with him anymore, and then we got together. So I didn't take anybody from anything. Okay, everybody has their own right to live and do what they want to do, and Gypsy decided, and that's just the reality. So to say that I took her from him is just a crazy statement. She had the option and the free will, and she made the decision to leave him because she realized she didn't want to be with the dude anymore. And then we got together. So no, I didn't take anyone from anyone. And the last thing I want to do is leave with this. There you go.